Jodi Arias was born in 1980 in Cinelales, California. During her early childhood and adulthood, she worked in various sales positions and eventually became involved in marketing company where she first met Travis in 2006. Alexander was based in Arizona and was active with sales organization. They host conferences and events across the country. According to the account from friends and colleagues, he was outgoing, ambitious, and deeply involved in his professional community. After meeting at a workers related event, Ares and Alexander began a relationship. They would continue intimately, and over the next years, friends later described their relationship as complicated. Though the two had periods of closeness, they also experienced disagreement and separations. Despite the distance between Arizona and California, Ares frequently traveled to visit Alexander. Their communication continued through text messages, phone calls, and online exchanges. By the early 2008, however, their romantic relationship had reportedly ended, though the two still maintained contact in June 2008. In the early June of 2008, friends of Travis Alexander noticed that they had not heard from him for several days. This was unusual. Alexander, who had planned to attend an upcoming conference and had also known for maintaining regular communication with friends and colleagues, concerned, several friends went to the house of Mesa in Arizona. When they entered the house, they made a few discoveries that would quickly lead to a major police investigation. Authorities were contacted, and detectives from Mesa Police Department began their examination. They examined the scene and interviewed everyone who knew Alexander. Among the people investigating wanted to speak with Jodi Arias. Initial investigation. During the early stage of the investigation, detectives began to build a timeline of Alexander's final days. They spoke with friends, reviewed phone records, and examined digital communication. Initially, Arias told the police and the investigators that he had been in Arizona around the time Alexander was confirmed unalive. She stated that she had last seen him weeks earlier. However, investigators soon began to discover the informations and contradicted her statement. Phone record and other data suggested that Arias had traveled to Arizona during the period in question. This discrepancy prompted further interview and the interrogations. As detectives continued questioning Arias, her account of events changed several times. One of her versions of the event, she claimed that she had not been present in Alexander's home at all. Later, she said two unknown individuals entered and attacked Alexander while she was there. Eventually, the lengthy police interview, she had admitted that she had been involved in his death. Her explanation was the situation that escalated during the confrontation between these two of them. Investigators carefully commented and documented the statement she made during this interview. The interrogation would later become widely viewed once the case had moved through the court system. Evidence alongside interviews. Detectives gather physical and digital evidence. One important camera was found in the scene. Investigators were also able to recover images from the camera memory card. The time strap on the photograph helped to establish a timeline of the event inside the home. Other evidence include phone record, travel record, rental cars documentation, and witness statements. Together, the elements helped prosecutors to construct a timeline of arrest movement leading up to the following the incident of her arrest. In July 2008, Jodi Arias was formally arrested and charged in connection with the death of Travis Alexander. She was later extradited to Arizona to face trial. The case began and attracted increasing media attention as details emerged about the relationship between two individuals. The statements Arias had made during the police investigation. The trial of Jodi Arias began in 2013, nearly 5 years after the initial investigation. Court proceedings lasted several months. The trial and the prosecutor presented evidence intended to show that the crime had been planned and carried out intentionally. They pointed Arias' travels arrangement, inconsistency in her statement, and the sequence of events established by them and how it was recovered with digital photographs. The defense, meanwhile, argued that Arias had acted in self-defense during the confrontation. Attorney presented their interpretation of the event and questioned the aspects of the prosecution timeline. Throughout the proceeding, both sides presented expert witnesses, forensic analysts, and investigators. The courtroom testimony and extensive questioning of Ariel herself became a focal point of this media coverage. For several days, the trial of Arias took place in a stand to describe the version of events. Her testimony was widely discussed and analyzed by legal observers. After months of testimony and argument, the case was presented to the juries. Jurors were asked and tasked with reviewing the evidence and determining whether the prosecution had proven its case under a standard required by the law. In May 2003, the jury returned its verdict. Jodi Arias was guilty of first-degree murder. The verdict concluded that the primary phase of the trial, though additional proceedings were required to determine the sentencing. Following the conviction, the court held further hearing regarding the sentence. After multiple proceedings, the judge ultimately imposed a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The legal decision formally concluded with the case within the Arizona court system. Public attention. The trial has drew extraordinary media coverage, television broadcast, online discussion, legal analyst program closely followed each stage of the proceedings. Much of the attention centered on the interrogation footage, courtroom testimony, and the psychological aspect of their relationship between Arias and Alexander. Legal analysts noted that the case illustrated how a digital evidence, witness testimony, and detailed investigative work can combine to reconstruct events surrounding a crime broader reflection. The Jodi Arias case remained one of the most widely discussed criminal trials of the early 21st century, not only because of the legal outcome but also because of the extensive public interest in the courtroom proceedings and investigative process. For many observers, the case highlighted how modern investigation relied heavily on digital evidence, timelines, and careful documentation. It also demonstrates how complex personal relationships can become more central elements in criminal investigation. Ultimately, the legal system could have reached a conclusion through a jury verdict and sentences within the court proceedings. Today, the case continues to be examined by legal scholars, journalists, and documentary storytellers. If you're interested in stories like this, click the like button, share, and subscribe so you always get updates. Thank you.